The text appeared on my phone like a digital slap across the face. I need to tell you something. Don't wait up tonight. 7 words. That's all it took to make my hand shake, my coffee mug clattering against the kitchen counter. I've been married to Tyler long enough to know when something's wrong. 8 years of sharing a life teaches you to read between the lines, to sense the tremors before the earthquake hits. I stared at those words until they blurred, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. What do you say to a message that reeks of goodbye? Is everything okay? I typed, deleted, typed again. Pathetic. Of course nothing was okay. The house felt different suddenly. Too quiet. Too empty. Our wedding photos on the wall seemed to mock me. Tyler's perfect smile, his arm around my waist, both of us radiating happiness. What a joke. My phone buzzed again. Margaret knows. She'll explain everything. Margaret. Of course his mother would be involved. She'd never approved of me, always finding subtle ways to remind me that I wasn't good enough for her precious son. Too focused on my writing, not ready for children, not from the right social circle. I called Ben immediately. Something's wrong, I said when he picked up. Tyler's acting strange, and apparently Margaret has all the answers. Heaven! Ben's lawyer voice kicked in, calm and measured. Don't jump to conclusions. Want me to come over? No, I need to handle this myself. The doorbell rang, making me flinch. Through the frosted glass, I could see Margaret's silhouette, straight-backed and proper as always. I opened the door, noting her perfectly pressed clothes, her immaculate makeup. She looked like she was attending a business meeting, not destroying someone's life. Heaven, dear! Her smile didn't reach her eyes. May I come in? I stepped aside, watching her glide into my living room like she owned it. She probably thought she did. I assume Tyler has messaged you? She perched on the edge of our sofa, her designer handbag placed precisely beside her. Cut the act, Margaret. What's going on? She sighed, a sound full of practiced sympathy. Tyler's found someone else. Someone more suitable. Her name is Clara. I introduced them at the charity gala last month. The words hit like bullets, each one finding its mark. Last month. The gala I couldn't attend because I was at my writing workshop, the one Margaret had insisted Tyler attend alone. You planned this. The realization came with crystal clarity. I merely facilitated an inevitable outcome. Margaret's voice turned steel cold. Let's be honest, Heaven. You were never going to give Tyler what he needs, what our family needs. Clara understands the importance of legacy. I laughed, a harsh sound that surprised us both. Legacy? You mean she's young and fertile, unlike your broken daughter-in-law? Don't be crude. Margaret stood, smoothing her skirt. Tyler will be filing for divorce. I suggest you make this easy on everyone and accept it gracefully. Gracefully? My voice shook. Like you gracefully orchestrated my husband's affair? Oh, Heaven. She reached for her bag, looking almost pitying. Did you really think this marriage would last? You were never one of us. Tyler needs someone who can give him children, who understands our world. Clara is perfect for him. I watched her walk to the door, her heels clicking against the hardwood floors we'd picked out together. Tyler and I, planning for a future that was now turning to ash. Margaret? I called after her. She paused, hand on the doorknob. Tell Tyler something for me? She turned, eyebrow raised. Tell him I hope Clara gives him everything he wants. I smiled, feeling something hard and cold settle in my chest. And tell him I'll see him in court. The door closed behind her with a soft click, leaving me alone in a house full of memories that suddenly felt like lies. My phone buzzed again. Tyler, probably with more excuses, more explanations. I didn't read it. Instead, I opened my laptop and started typing. Not another chapter of my novel, but something else entirely. Something that would make them all pay. Tyler came home at midnight, reeking of expensive perfume and guilt. I sat in the dark living room, my laptop still open to the document that would destroy him. He flipped on the lights and jumped. Jesus, Heaven, what are you doing sitting in the dark? Waiting for my husband to come home and tell me about Clara. The name felt like poison on my tongue. Or were you planning to let your mother do all your dirty work? He loosened his tie, a nervous gesture I'd once found endearing. So she told you. She did more than tell me, she gloated. I closed my laptop with a snap. How long have you been planning this? It's not what you think. Tyler paced the room, keeping his distance. Clara and it just happened. We connected. At the gala, your mother insisted I skip? My laugh sounded hollow. The one she practically pushed you to attend? He had the decency to look uncomfortable. Mother had nothing to do with... Stop lying. I stood up, my legs steadier than I expected. She orchestrated the whole thing, found the perfect breeding mare for her precious son. Don't be crude. His words echoed his mother's, making my skin crawl. This isn't about having children. No? I moved closer, watching him retreat. Then why did your mother spend 20 minutes explaining how Clara understands the importance of family legacy? Tyler's face hardened. Maybe she has a point. We've been trying for years, Heaven. Years of disappointment, of watching you pour yourself into your writing instead of... Instead of what? My voice rose. Instead of being the perfect society wife? Instead of attending your mother's charity functions and playing hostess to her friends? That's not fair. Fair? I grabbed my phone, pulling up the photos I'd found earlier. Was it fair when you and Clara spent Valentine's Day together while I was at my fertility appointment? Was it fair when your mother introduced her to your entire family at Easter, knowing what you were planning? His eyes widened at the photos. You've been spying on me? No, Tyler. Your mother's friends aren't as discreet as she thinks. They've been sending me sympathetic messages all day, complete with evidence of your indiscretions. He sank onto the couch, head in his hands. I never meant to hurt you. That's the problem, isn't it? I moved toward the stairs. You never meant anything. You just let your mother puppet master our entire marriage. Where are you going? To pack. I paused on the first step. Unless you'd prefer to leave? After all, Clara's probably waiting up for you. Heaven, please, we can talk about this. Like you talked to me before starting an affair? Or like you talked to me before letting your mother plan my replacement? His silence was answer enough. I climbed the stairs, each step feeling like a victory. Behind me, I heard him on the phone. Mother? She knows everything. No, I don't think she'll be reasonable about this. In our bedroom, my bedroom now, I opened my laptop again. The document was still there, waiting. I'd titled it, The Perfect Son, a story about a wealthy family's golden boy and his controlling mother. Fiction, of course, with just enough truth to make them squirm. My phone buzzed with a text from Ben. How are you holding up? I typed back. Starting chapter 2, it's going to be a bestseller. Below, I could hear Tyler still talking to Margaret, their voices rising. Let them plot. Let them scheme. They thought they were breaking me, but they were just giving me material. Another text came through, this time from an unknown number. Heaven, this is Clara. We need to talk. I stared at the message, a smile spreading across my face. Perfect. Every story needs an unexpected ally, and Clara might just be mine. After all, she'd seen Margaret's manipulation up close. Maybe it was time she learned what happened to Margaret's last daughter-in-law. I saved my document and started a new message to Clara. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold, it's published in hardcover. I met Clara at a small cafe 3 blocks from my house, far enough from Tyler's usual haunts to avoid detection. She sat in a corner booth, perfectly put together in that effortless way that probably took hours to achieve. Just Margaret's type. Thank you for meeting me, she said, fingers wrapped around an untouched latte. I know this must be difficult. Difficult? I slid into the booth. That's one word for it. Betrayal might be another. Clara flinched. I didn't know about you at first. Margaret told me Tyler was separated, going through a divorce. Of course she did. I pulled out my phone, scrolling to the Easter photos. Is that why you're wearing my grandmother's sapphire necklace here? Her hand flew to her throat, though the necklace was long gone. Margaret gave it to me. Said it was a family heirloom. Ah, it was. My grandmother gave it to me on my wedding day. I zoomed in on the image. Notice how Margaret's smiling? That's her victory face. Heaven, Save it! I set my phone down. You didn't ask me here to apologize. Clara reached into her designer bag, pulling out a stack of letters. No, I didn't. I asked you here because you need to see these. The letters were expensive stationery, Margaret's flowing script unmistakable. I started reading, each word making my stomach turn. Plans, carefully laid out over months. Instructions for Clara on how to dress, what to say, when to laugh at Tyler's jokes. Details about his schedule, his preferences, his weaknesses. She's been grooming me, Clara's voice cracked, like some kind of replacement part. That's Margaret's specialty, I kept reading. She did the same thing with Tyler's first wife. Clara's head snapped up. First wife? Sarah. I met her eyes. Lasted 11 months before she had a convenient mental breakdown. Margaret had her committed. The divorce was quick, quiet, and very generous, provided Sarah never contacted Tyler again. Oh, God. Clara's latte was definitely cold now. There's more. Margaret. She has expectations. About children. About my role in the family business. Let me guess. She's already planned the nursery? And the prep schools. The college applications. The whole future mapped out before I'm even pregnant. Clara's perfectly manicured nails dug into her palms. I thought I was in control, playing the game. But she's been playing me all along. I gathered the letters, scanning the dates. These go back 8 months, well before the gala. She approached me at a charity auction, said her son needed someone suitable. Clara laughed bitterly. I thought she meant socially. I didn't realize she was casting for a specific role. My phone buzzed. Tyler calling again. I declined it, watching another text pop up. Where are you? Mother's worried. Does Tyler know? I asked Clara. About the letters? Tyler only knows what Margaret tells him. She pulled out one more envelope. This arrived yesterday, my script for the next 6 months, including when to announce the pregnancy. But you're not. No. Clara's smile was sharp. And I won't be. That's why I needed to see you. I'm done being Margaret's puppet, but I need help making sure I don't end up like Sarah. I studied her face, looking for deception. Why should I trust you? Because I have something Margaret wants to keep hidden. Clara tapped the envelope. Something that could ruin more than just her perfect family image. My phone buzzed again. Ben this time. Margaret's looking for you. Be careful. I gathered the letters, mind racing. Clara could be lying, setting another trap, but the fear in her eyes seemed real enough. And if she had proof of Margaret's schemes, meet me tomorrow, I said, standing. Bring whatever evidence you have. And Clara, if you're playing me, remember, I'm not Sarah. I don't break easily. She nodded, understanding the threat. Tomorrow then. And heaven? I really am sorry. I left her there, letters tucked safely in my bag. Outside, the spring air felt electric with possibility. Margaret had made one crucial mistake. She'd chosen a replacement who was just as ambitious as she was. And now that replacement was ready to switch sides. My phone buzzed one more time, Margaret herself. We need to discuss your behavior, dear. Come to dinner tonight. I smiled, typing back. Of course, Mother. I have so much to share. Margaret's dining room felt like a stage set. Crystal glasses catching the chandelier light, silver gleaming on starched linen. Everything arranged just so, a perfect tableau of family power. Tyler sat at his usual place, Clara beside him, both looking anywhere but at me. Heaven, darling! Margaret gestured to my old seat. I'm so glad you could join us. I remained standing, Clara's letters burning a hole in my bag. Interesting seating arrangement. Well, Margaret's smile tightened. We need to discuss the new dynamics. The dynamics where you orchestrated my replacement? I pulled out one of Clara's letters. Or the dynamics where you plan to announce her pregnancy next month? Tyler's head snapped up. What pregnancy? The one your mother scheduled, Clara said quietly. Along with the birth announcement, the christening, and probably the child's first word. Margaret's knife clattered against fine china. Clara, dear, you're obviously confused. Show him the letters, I told Clara. Show him how his mother picked out his new wife like she was casting a play. Clara reached for her bag, but Margaret cut in. That's quite enough. Heaven, you're clearly upset, but this theatrical display. Theatrical? I laughed. Like the performance you arranged at the gala? Or maybe like Sarah's convenient breakdown? The room went silent. Tyler's face drained of color. How do you know about Sarah? I did some digging. I met Margaret's steel gaze. Found some interesting court records. Seems your mother has a pattern. Mother? Tyler turned to Margaret. What is she talking about? Margaret dabbed her lips with a napkin. Ancient history. Your first marriage was a youthful mistake. That you corrected, I cut in, with a carefully planned replacement, just like now. Clara stood suddenly, chair scraping against hardwood. I can't do this anymore. She pulled out her own stack of letters. Tyler, you need to read these. All of them. Margaret rose, authority crackling around her like static. Clara, remember our discussion about your future in this family. My future? Clara's laugh held an edge of hysteria. You mean the one you've scripted down to the minute? The one where I'm just another prop in your perfect family portrait? Tyler grabbed the letters, starting to read. With each page, his hands shook more violently. You planned all of this? He looked at his mother. The gala, the chance meetings, everything? I did what was necessary, Margaret said. Heaven couldn't give you children. Clara can. It's that simple. Simple? I moved closer to Margaret. Like it was simple to have Sarah committed? To convince Tyler she was unstable? Sarah was unstable, Margaret snapped. Just like you're being unstable now. No, Clara interrupted. She's being honest. Something this family should try sometime. Tyler stood, letters crushed in his fist. I need some air. Tyler, wait! Margaret reached for him, but he jerked away. Don't! He looked at each of us in turn. Just don't! The front door slammed behind him, leaving silence in its wake. Well, Margaret smoothed her skirt, composure cracking slightly. I hope you're all satisfied with tonight's drama. Drama? I pulled out my phone, showing her the screen. This isn't drama, Margaret. This is evidence. Every letter, every manipulation, every scheme, all documented. Ready to share with the family lawyers, the society papers, everyone. You wouldn't dare. Try me. I gathered my things. Oh, and Clara, Ben's waiting outside if you need a ride. He's quite good at handling delicate legal situations. Clara nodded, collecting her bag. Thank you. Margaret watched us head for the door, her perfect world crumbling around her. Heaven, she called after me. What do you want? I turned back, seeing fear in her eyes for the first time. Want? I want you to remember this moment, Margaret. The moment you realized you don't control everything. The moment your perfect plan fell apart. Outside, Ben's car idled in the driveway. Clara hesitated before getting in. Are you sure about this? She asked. I looked back at Margaret's house, at the shadows moving behind curtained windows. No, but I'm sure about one thing. We're done being pawns in her game. Ben's office felt like a war room, papers spread across his desk, photos and timelines pinned to a corkboard. Clara sat beside me, her designer outfit wrinkled from hours of planning. Sarah's medical records lay open between us, a stark reminder of what Margaret was capable of. She'll come after you both, Ben said, tapping Sarah's file. She's already laying the groundwork. 3 calls today about Heaven's unstable behavior at dinner. Of course she is. I traced the signature on Sarah's commitment papers. History repeating itself. Clara's phone buzzed. Tyler again. She silenced it without looking. He's been texting all night. Wants to meet, to explain. Don't! Ben's voice hardened. Not without witnesses. Margaret's too smart to leave loose ends. A knock at the door made us all jump. Ben's assistant entered, looking worried. "Ms. Rivers, there's someone here to see you. Says she's Sarah Mitchell." The room went silent. Clara's face paled. "Sarah's here?" "Send her in," I said before Ben could object. Sarah wasn't what I expected. No broken woman, no tragic victim. She walked in like someone who'd rebuilt herself from scratch, elegant and sharp-edged. "So?" She surveyed our evidence wall. "Margaret's at it again." "You knew?" Clara asked. "I suspected, when I saw the engagement announcement." Sarah picked up her own medical file. "Let me guess. She's already started the whisper campaign? Little comments about emotional stability, about handling stress?" I nodded, watching her carefully. "Why are you here?" "Because Tyler called me." She sat down, crossing her legs. First time in 7 years. He's finally asking questions about what really happened. "And what did happen?" Clara leaned forward. "Margaret happened. She orchestrated everything. The doctors, the diagnosis, the treatment. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. The papers were signed, the story was set." Ben grabbed a legal pad. "Would you testify to that?" "No." Sarah's smile was razor-sharp. "I'll do better. I'll give you Margaret's playbook. Every move, every manipulation, documented in detail, including what she's planning next." My manuscript page glowed on my laptop screen, waiting. "How do you know what she's planning?" "Because I've spent 7 years studying her, tracking her patterns, and because she just tried to contact me, offering a very generous payment to confirm your instability." Clara's phone buzzed again. Margaret this time. The text preview made her gasp. "Darling, let's discuss your future. Tyler's not the only son with prospects. She's trying to trade me to Tyler's brother," Clara whispered. "Like I'm some sort of investment." "That's exactly what you are to her." Sarah stood, smoothing her skirt. "What we all were. Pieces in her perfect family puzzle." "So help us stop her," I said. "Better." Sarah pulled out a USB drive. "Help me destroy her. Everything's here. Financial records, medical conspiracies, 7 years of evidence. Margaret's not just manipulative, she's criminal, and it's time everyone knew." Ben took the drive, lawyer mode engaged. "This could get ugly." "It's already ugly," I said, thinking of my manuscript, of the story taking shape. "But now we have something Margaret doesn't." "What's that?" Clara asked. "The truth, all of it, and a platform to tell it." I opened my laptop, creating a new folder. "The Margaret Chronicles." Sarah watched me type, understanding dawning. "A book? Better. A series of exposés, released piece by piece. Let her try to discredit all of us at once." Ben's phone chimed. A message from Tyler. "We need to talk, about Mother, about everything." "Careful," Sarah warned. "Tyler's not as innocent as he seems." "No," I agreed, thinking of all the times he must have known, must have seen, must have chosen to ignore. But he's about to learn something important. "What's that?" Clara asked. I looked at our wall of evidence, at Sarah's strength, at Clara's determination, at my own reflection in the window, no longer broken, but sharp enough to cut. That his mother isn't the only one who knows how to orchestrate a perfect ending. The annual Rivers Family Gala buzzed with whispers and sideways glances. I moved through the crowd like a ghost, watching Margaret hold court near the champagne fountain, Tyler hovering uncertainly at her side. No Clara in sight, smart girl. "Are you sure about this?" Ben murmured, appearing at my elbow with a USB drive. "Once we start, there's no going back." I took the drive, feeling its weight like a loaded gun. "Sarah's in position?" "Ready with the slideshow, just waiting for your signal." Margaret caught my eye across the room, her smile razor-sharp. She raised her glass in mock toast, so confident in her control. She hadn't noticed the tech crew setting up the projector, hadn't seen Sarah slip in through the service entrance. "Heaven!" Tyler's voice behind me. "We need to talk." "No," I turned to face him. "We need to listen, Everyone needs to listen. The lights dimmed, right on cue. Margaret's voice carried across the suddenly quiet room. Heaven, darling, what are you? The first image hit the wall. Margaret's handwritten instructions to Clara, complete with a schedule for the affair. Then, Sarah's medical records, the falsified diagnoses, financial documents showing payments to doctors, to lawyers, to silence anyone who threatened her perfect family facade. What is this? Tyler grabbed my arm. Stop it, now! Why? I jerked away. Afraid everyone will see who you really are? Who she made you? Margaret moved toward the projector, but Sarah stepped out, blocking her path. Hello, Margaret. Remember me? The room erupted in gasps as Sarah's commitment papers appeared on screen, Margaret's signature stark against white paper. This is slander, Margaret announced, but her voice shook. These documents are clearly fabricated. Like you fabricated my mental illness? Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. Like you fabricated Heaven's instability? Clara's sudden appearance in Tyler's life? Tyler, Margaret turned to her son, handle this. But Tyler stood frozen, watching years of manipulation unspool in high definition. His mother's letters, his father's silence, his own willing blindness, all exposed. Then came the audio. Margaret's voice, crystal clear. Clara, dear, once we handle Heaven like we handled Sarah, everything will fall into place. Tyler always does what's best for the family. The room went dead silent. I felt Tyler's stare like a physical weight. You recorded her? He whispered. No. Clara's voice rang out as she emerged from the crowd. I did. Every meeting, every instruction, every threat. Margaret's composure cracked. You ungrateful little… What? Clara moved to stand beside me. Ungrateful for being groomed as a replacement? For being traded between your sons like a stock option? I gave you everything. You gave me a script, Clara spat. Just like you gave Tyler a script. Just like you gave everyone a script. The projector clicked to the final image. Margaret's letter to Sarah's doctors, detailing exactly how to break someone without leaving evidence. Enough! Tyler's voice sounded strange, hollow. Mother, what did you do? Margaret straightened, ice replacing panic. What I had to do, for this family, for you. For me? Tyler laughed, an ugly sound. You destroyed lives for me? I built lives, Margaret snapped. I created perfection. Everything I did was a lie. I stepped forward, facing her directly. Every moment, every relationship, every perfect family photo, all lies. The room spun with shocked faces, whispered conversations, phones recording everything. Margaret's carefully constructed world crumbling in real time. Then she smiled, that same calculating smile I'd seen so many times before. You think this changes anything? You think anyone will believe the ravings of 2 discarded wives and an ambitious little climber? No, I said quietly, but they'll believe this. I held up my phone, showing her the manuscript title, The Margaret Chronicles, a true story of power, manipulation, and justice. The first chapter goes live tonight, Sarah added. Every major publisher's already bidding. Margaret's face went white. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. And in that moment, watching her perfect world shatter, I felt nothing but emptiness. This wasn't victory. This wasn't even revenge. This was just truth, finally breaking free. The aftermath of the gala exploded across social media, Margaret's carefully crafted empire crumbling in real time. I sat in Ben's office, watching the views on my manuscript excerpt climb into the millions, when Tyler walked in unannounced. She's in the hospital, he said, looking haunted. Mother had a breakdown after the gala. Real or staged? Sarah's voice cut through the room as she emerged from Ben's private office. Because we've seen this performance before. Tyler flinched. Sarah, Save it. She tossed a folder onto Ben's desk. Your mother's already trying to spin this. Called 3 journalists claiming Heaven, and I conspired to destroy her family out of jealousy. Of course she did. Clara appeared in the doorway, her designer outfit replaced by jeans and a simple blouse. She just called me, offering to double my trust fund if I publicly discredit Heaven. Tyler sank into a chair. This has to stop. It will, I said, opening my laptop. When the truth comes out, all of it. The truth? He laughed bitterly. Which version? The one where my mother orchestrated everything? Or the one where I let her? The room went silent. Clara's breath caught. Sarah leaned forward. Say that again, Ben said quietly, recording app open. I knew. Tyler's voice cracked. Not everything, not at first. But I knew what she did to Sarah. I knew she was pushing Clara into my life. I knew, and I did nothing. Why? The word felt like glass in my throat. Because it was easier. Because she always fixed everything, made everything perfect. Because you're exactly like her. Margaret stood in the doorway, looking immaculate despite her supposed breakdown. You understand the importance of family, of legacy. Mother, don't. No, Tyler, it's time for truth, isn't it? She moved into the room like a queen entering court. You want confession? Here's mine. I did everything they accused me of, and more. Because this family needed it, needed me. We have evidence, Ben warned. Real evidence. Of course you do, Margaret smiled. I made sure of it. The realization hit like ice water. You wanted to be exposed. Clever girl. Margaret sat down, perfectly poised. Do you know what happens to powerful families in scandal? They become legends, dynasties. The river's name will be immortal now. You're insane, Clara whispered. I'm practical. Heaven's book will be a bestseller. Tyler's redemption arc will captivate society. Even you, Clara, will profit from your role as the repentant other woman. She turned to Sarah. And you, my dear, will finally have your vindication. At what cost? Tyler stood, shaking. Our lives? Our choices? Choices? Margaret laughed. You never made choices, Tyler. You followed my script, just like your father, just like everyone. Not anymore. I closed my laptop. Your story ends here. Does it? She raised an eyebrow. Look around, Heaven. Everyone in this room is exactly where I planned, playing their parts perfectly. No, Sarah stepped forward. We're not characters in your story anymore. We're witnesses. To what? To this. I pulled out my phone, showing her the live stream. Thousands watching as she confessed, as she revealed her true self. Margaret's composure cracked just for a moment. You didn't follow your script? Clara moved to stand beside me. That's the thing about manipulation, Margaret. Eventually, people learn to write their own stories. Tyler, Margaret turned to her son, handle this. But Tyler was already walking away. Goodbye, Mother. You'll regret this, she called after him. All of you. No, I said quietly. We won't, because your story isn't ours anymore. It never was. Margaret stood, straightening her jacket. Well played, Heaven. But remember, every story needs a villain, and I'm very good at that role. She walked out, head high, leaving us in silence. Now what? Clara asked. I opened my laptop again, starting a new chapter. Now we tell our own stories, all of them. No scripts, no manipulation, just truth. The cursor blinked, waiting. Behind me, Sarah and Clara exchanged looks. Ben started making calls. And somewhere in the city, Margaret was already planning her next move. But this time, we were ready. This time, we were writing our own endings. The book launch party buzzed with energy, my story displayed in every bookstore window across the city. The Margaret Chronicles had become more than an exposé. It was a movement, inspiring others to break free from their own manipulated lives. I signed another copy, meeting the reader's eyes. To Sarah, she whispered. Not the Sarah from your book, but someone who needed this story. Behind her, Clara chatted with journalists, her own tell-all memoir already generating buzz. She caught my eye and nodded. No more scripts, no more perfect roles to play. Quite a turnout. Ben appeared at my elbow, champagne in hand. Margaret would be proud. Is that supposed to be funny? Actually, it's supposed to be ironic. He handed me an envelope. This came to the office today. Thought you should see it. Inside was a letter. Margaret's elegant handwriting unchanged despite everything. Dear Heaven, you were right. Every story needs a villain. But the best villains, like the best writers, understand their power. You've made me immortal, darling, and for that, I almost forgive you, Margaret. She never changes, does she? I crumpled the letter. Maybe that's not the point, a new voice said. I turned to find Lucas standing there, his daughter Emma clutching his hand. Maybe the point is that you did. I met his eyes, remembering our first meeting at a writing workshop months ago, before the story broke, before he showed me that family could be simple, honest, real. Emma has something for you, he said softly. The little girl held out a drawing, stick figures holding hands, a sun shining above them. It's us, she explained, for your new story. My new story? The happy one, she said, as if it were obvious. After the sad one ends. I took the drawing, feeling its weight in my hands. Through the window, I could see Tyler across the street, staring at the bookstore display. Our eyes met briefly before he turned away, disappearing into the crowd. Heaven! Sarah approached, her therapy practice now flourishing with women escaping their own Margarets. They're ready for the reading. I moved toward the podium, Lucas and Emma finding seats in the front row. The audience settled, waiting for more revelations, more drama, more pain. Instead, I opened to the epilogue. This isn't a story about revenge. It's not even a story about justice. It's a story about the words we use to write our own lives and the courage it takes to start a new page. Clara squeezed my hand as she passed. Ben raised his glass. Sarah smiled, finally free of old ghosts. A movement at the back caught my eye. Margaret, elegant as ever, slipping into the shadows. She'd come to witness her own immortality, just as she'd planned. But this wasn't her story anymore. It never really was. I looked down at Emma's drawing, then back at my audience. All these people writing their own stories, breaking their own chains. Once upon a time, I began, there was a woman who thought love meant control, and a family who forgot how to speak their own truth. The words flowed, not with anger or revenge, but with understanding. Because in the end, Margaret had given me something precious, the power to tell my own story, to choose my own family, to write my own ending. Emma beamed up at me, Lucas's hand resting protectively on her shoulder. This was my new story, messy, imperfect, real. No scripts, no manipulation, no perfect facades. Just truth, in all its complicated beauty. And somewhere in the shadows, Margaret watched her legacy transform into something she never intended, a testament not to control, but to freedom. Not to perfection, but to growth. Not to her story, but to ours. I turn the page, ready to begin again. I stare at the pink slip in my hands, the words, "Termination effective immediately," swimming before my eyes like cruel little fish. 10 years of dedication to the Riverside Public Library, reduced to a single sheet of paper and a box of personal belongings. "I'm sorry, Sarah," Director Thompson says, not meeting my eyes. His hands fidget with a gold pen, the same one I'd given him last Christmas. "It's out of my hands. The board's decision is final." The lie in his voice is as clear as the afternoon sun streaming through his office window. I've known this man for a decade, watched him stammer through budget meetings and celebration speeches. He's never been good at deception. "Who made the call?" I ask, my voice steadier than I expect. "Really made it?" He clicks the pen repeatedly, a nervous tick I've seen 1,000 times. "I can't discuss that. Legal reasons, you understand." I don't understand, not at all. But I gather what's left of my dignity and stand up, the chair scraping against the floor with a sound like fingernails on a chalkboard. "Of course, legal reasons." The words taste like vinegar on my tongue. My box sits on my desk, hastily packed by someone else's hands. My carefully curated reading recommendations for the children's section are already gone.
replaced by generic bestseller lists. They didn't waste any time erasing me. Emily catches me at the front desk, her face flushed with anger. "This is bullshit, Sarah. Complete bullshit. They can't just..." "They can," I cut her off, shifting the box in my arms. "They did. But your programs, the literacy initiative, someone else will handle it." The words come out sharper than intended, making Emily flinch. "Sorry, I need to process this." The walk to my car feels like a walk of shame, even though I've done nothing wrong. My mind races through possible reasons. Budget cuts, personal vendetta, the recent divorce making me appear unstable. None of it makes sense. My phone buzzes as I reach the parking lot. Unknown number. "Hello? Miss Mitchell?" A man's voice, smooth as aged whiskey. "I couldn't help but notice your situation at the library. Perhaps we could discuss some opportunities over coffee?" I should hang up. Strange men calling at precisely the wrong moment screams, "Trap." But something in his voice holds me there, like a hook caught in tender flesh. Who is this? Ryan Harper. The name means nothing to me, but the confidence in his tone suggests it should. "I have a proposition that might interest you, given your current circumstances." "My current circumstances happened 10 minutes ago." He chuckles, the sound rich and warm. "News travels fast in certain circles. The daily grind, 30 minutes? I'll be the one with the Wall Street Journal and an espresso." I should say no. Should go home, curl up with a bottle of wine, and lick my wounds. But anger and curiosity make a dangerous cocktail. 45 minutes, I counter. I need to drop some things at home. "Perfect. And Miss Mitchell? I'm truly sorry about the library. It's not right what they did to you." The line goes dead before I can respond. I sit in my car, staring at the box of memories in my passenger seat, and feel something shift inside me. The familiar comfort of books and routine crumbles away, revealing something harder underneath, something that wants answers. My phone buzzes again. Emily, probably checking on me. I ignore it. Whatever game this Ryan Harper is playing, whatever circles he moves in that knew about my firing before it happened, I'm going to find out. Because one thing's become crystal clear. This wasn't a simple termination. This was a calculated move in someone else's game. And I'm tired of being a pawn. The daily grind hums with afternoon activity as I spot Ryan Harper exactly where he said he'd be. His tailored suit stands out among the casual crowd like a shark in a goldfish pond. He rises when I approach, and I notice his smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Miss Mitchell, thank you for coming." He gestures to the chair across from him. A steaming cup already waits for me. My usual order somehow. "How did you know what I drink?" "Lucky guess." He slides the cup closer. "Most librarians I know prefer their coffee like their books, complex and thoughtfully prepared." I leave the cup untouched. "Most librarians you know? And how many would that be?" His laugh is practiced, precise. "Point taken. I did my homework before reaching out. Your reputation at Riverside was impressive. The children's literacy program in particular caught my attention. You still haven't explained why I'm here." Direct. I like that. He leans forward, lowering his voice. "What if I told you I could offer you something better than your position at the library? Something that would make today's unpleasantness seem like a blessing in disguise?" My phone buzzes again, Emily's third attempt to reach me. I silence it without looking away from Ryan's face. "I'd say that timing is everything, and yours is suspiciously perfect." Sometimes opportunity knocks at unexpected moments. He pulls out a business card, sliding it across the table. The paper feels expensive between my fingers. "My family's foundation is launching a new educational initiative. We need someone with your expertise to oversee it." "The Harper Foundation," I read aloud. "The logo looks familiar. I've seen it on donor plaques around town. Why me?" "Because you understand the importance of stories, of shaping narratives." Something shifts in his expression, almost imperceptible. "The position comes with significant resources at your disposal, complete creative control. And what's the catch?" Dinner. He says it simply, like he's suggesting a handshake. With my parents this Saturday. They'll want to meet the person who'll be handling such a delicate project. My coffee sits untouched, growing cold. You orchestrated my firing, didn't you? Instead of denying it, he studies me with newfound interest. Would it matter if I did? The outcome remains the same. You need a job, and I'm offering you an opportunity that could change your life. That's not a no. No, it's not. He reaches across the table, his fingers brushing mine as he retrieves his business card. 7 o'clock Saturday. The address is on the back. Wear something elegant. My mother notices these things. I should walk away. Every instinct screams that I'm being manipulated, moved like a piece on a chessboard. But curiosity burns stronger than caution. Why go to all this trouble? You could have just approached me at the library. Some doors need to close before others can open. He stands, adjusting his cuffs with practiced precision. Besides, I find that people are most interesting when they're knocked off balance, shows their true character. As he turns to leave, I call after him. And what if I don't show up? He pauses, that same calculated smile playing at his lips. Then you'll never know why the board was so eager to let you go, will you? The cafe feels colder after he leaves. I finally take a sip of the coffee he ordered. Perfect temperature, exactly how I like it. My phone buzzes again, this time with a text from Emily. Where are you? We need to talk about what happened. I stare at the message, then at the business card still on the table. Ryan's words echo in my head. Some doors need to close before others can open. He's right about one thing. I want answers. But as I pick up the card and run my thumb across the embossed lettering, I can't shake the feeling that I'm about to walk through a door that won't easily close behind me. Saturday's dinner invitation sits like a weight in my pocket, a ticket to either salvation or damnation. Only one way to find out which. I text Emily back. Rain check. Something came up. Then I add the Harper Foundation's address to my calendar, already wondering what elegant means to people who can orchestrate someone's firing with a snap of their fingers. Game on, Ryan Harper. Game on. The Harper Mansion looms before me like something out of a Gothic novel, all sharp angles and dark windows. Victoria Harper's smile is equally sharp as she opens the door, her pearl necklace catching the evening light. Sarah, darling, right on time. Her perfume wraps around me like expensive chains. Ryan speaks so highly of you. The foyer could swallow my entire apartment. Family portraits line the walls, generations of Harpers staring down with identical calculated smiles. Ryan appears at my elbow, his hand settling at the small of my back. Mother, you're hovering. Nonsense. I'm being welcoming. Victoria's eyes flick over my dress, the most expensive thing I own, and clearly not expensive enough. Daniel's in the study. Why don't you show Sarah around while I check on dinner? Ryan guides me through rooms that feel more like museum exhibits than living spaces. In the study, Daniel Harper barely looks up from his laptop. Welcome to the family business, he says, as if my presence is already a foregone conclusion. The word family catches in my throat like a fishhook. During dinner, Victoria orchestrates the conversation like a conductor, each topic carefully selected. Ryan tells us you're quite the expert on community engagement, she says, cutting into her perfectly cooked salmon. Such a shame about the library. Politics can be so messy. Politics? I set down my fork. I was told it was a budget issue. Oh, everything's politics these days. Victoria waves her hand dismissively. The right word in the right ear, and suddenly budgets appear or disappear. Fascinating process, really. Ryan tenses beside me. I feel the trap closing, but can't see its shape yet. Speaking of processes, Daniel interjects. Have you considered our offer, Sarah, the foundation position? I'm still evaluating my options. Victoria's smile tightens. Options, dear, in this economy? Besides, we're offering you something quite special. The foundation's new literacy initiative could use someone with your particular background. My background as a recently fired librarian? Your background as someone who understands loss, Victoria says softly, and the importance of securing one's future. The room suddenly feels airless. Ryan's hand finds mine under the table, but I can't tell if it's meant to comfort or restrain. Mother, Ryan starts, but Victoria cuts him off. I'm simply being honest, dear. Sarah's clearly intelligent. She must understand what we're offering. And what exactly is that? I ask, though I already know the answer won't be the truth. Security, influence, family. Victoria sets down her wine glass with precise movements. Things I imagine you've been missing since your divorce. Speaking of which, how is Thomas enjoying his new position at Sterling and Myers? The law firm partnership suits him, I hear. The pieces click into place with nauseating clarity. My ex-husband's sudden career jump, the library board's unexpected decision, the Harper Foundation's timely offer. You've been watching me, I say. Planning this. Planning implies calculation, Victoria corrects. We prefer to think of it as creating opportunities. For whom? For all of us. Daniel finally looks up from his plate. The foundation needs fresh blood, new perspectives, and you need a safety net. What I need, I push back from the table, is air. Ryan follows me onto the terrace, closing the French doors behind us. Sarah, wait. It's not what you think. Really? Because I think your family orchestrated my firing, manipulated my ex-husband's career, and is now trying to buy me with some vague promise of security. They're trying to help. Help who, Ryan? Them? You? Because it sure as hell isn't me. He runs a hand through his hair, frustration breaking through his polished veneer. You don't understand how they operate. Everything's a transaction to them, even love. Is that what this is? Love? The question hangs between us like smoke. Inside, I can see Victoria watching through the window, her expression unreadable. Come back inside, Ryan pleads. Let me explain. But I'm already moving toward the driveway, my heels clicking against the stone path like tiny hammers nailing shut a coffin. Behind me, I hear Victoria's voice drift through the open window. Let her go, darling. She'll be back. They always come back when they run out of options. I pause at my car, looking back at the mansion. Ryan stands frozen on the terrace, caught between his mother's shadow and the fading light. For a moment, I almost pity him. Almost. The letter arrives on expensive cream paper, hand-delivered to my apartment. Inside, a single sheet contains life-changing news. My great-aunt Eleanor, whom I'd met exactly twice, has left me her entire estate. The inheritance that would solve all my problems. Except for one detail. Victoria Harper is the executor. I'm still staring at the letter when Emily bursts through my door. You need to see this. She thrusts her tablet at me, displaying a news article about the Harper Foundation's latest acquisition, the Riverside Public Library building. They're converting it into a private research facility, Emily says, watching my face. Guess who's leading the project? Thomas. My ex-husband's name tastes like copper in my mouth. They're all connected, aren't they? There's more. Emily swipes to another article. Ryan's been appointed to the city council. The vote was unanimous. A knock at the door makes us both jump. Ryan stands there looking less polished than usual. We need to talk. Emily moves between us. She's not interested. It's about Eleanor Mitchell's estate. His eyes meet mine. Mother's making her move tomorrow. I let him in, despite Emily's warning glare. He paces my small living room like a caged animal. The foundation position, the library, Thomas. It was all groundwork, he says. They needed control of your assets before... He stops abruptly. Before what? Before the merger. He runs a hand through his disheveled hair. Harper Industries is bleeding money. They need Eleanor's estate to shore up the losses. Mother's planning to declare you mentally unfit to manage the inheritance. Emily curses under her breath. I feel oddly calm, like I'm watching this happen to someone else. She can't do that, Emily protests. Sarah's perfectly competent. She has Thomas's testimony about Sarah's emotional instability during the divorce. The library board's statement about her erratic behavior. It's all fabricated, but it's enough, I finish. That's why she wanted me at the foundation, to document my decisions, build a case. Ryan nods, not meeting my eyes. I tried to stop it, but you're a coward. The words come out flat, factual. Sarah, why tell me now? He finally looks at me. Because I found out what happened to Eleanor Mitchell. She didn't die of natural causes. The room goes silent. Emily's hand finds mine, squeezing hard. Mother arranged for her medication to be adjusted. She'd been planning this for months, waiting for the right moment. When you lost your job, became vulnerable. He trails off. Get out. My voice doesn't shake, neither do my hands. Sarah, please, I'm trying to help. Like you helped Eleanor? The calm starts cracking. Get out. He leaves a file on my coffee table before going. Everything you need to know is in here. But be careful. Mother's having you watched. After he's gone, Emily starts making calls to lawyer friends. I open the file with trembling fingers. Inside, I find documentation of Victoria's schemes, emails, financial records, medical reports, a paper trail of destruction. My phone buzzes with a text from Victoria. Dinner tomorrow? We should discuss Eleanor's estate. Your future depends on it. Emily looks up from her phone. Marcus Flynn called back. He's willing to meet tonight. Who's Marcus Flynn? Former Harper Industries executive, left under mysterious circumstances last year, says he has information we need. I stare at Victoria's text, thinking about Eleanor, about the library, about all the lives the Harpers have casually destroyed. Tell him I'll be there. Sarah, Emily hesitates. Are you sure about this? These people are dangerous. I pick up Eleanor's letter, running my fingers over the expensive paper. They think I'm just another pawn, someone to manipulate and discard. I meet Emily's worried gaze. But they forgot something important. What's that? In chess, a pawn that reaches the other side of the board becomes a queen. I type a response to Victoria. Looking forward to it. The pieces are set. Tomorrow, Victoria expects to meet a broken woman ready to surrender her inheritance. Instead, she'll meet someone else entirely, someone who knows how to play the game. Marcus Flynn's office sits above a closed pawn shop, the kind of place the Harpers wouldn't deign to notice. Perfect for plotting their downfall. Victoria's pattern is consistent, Marcus says, spreading photographs across his desk. She finds vulnerable people with valuable assets, integrates them into the family's orbit, then destroys them systematically. The photos show familiar faces, all people who'd crossed paths with the Harpers, all broken in different ways. My phone buzzes with a text from Lily. Why is Victoria Harper asking me about your mental health? My hands clench. They're targeting my sister. Of course they are. Marcus's voice carries the weight of experience. Victoria likes to create pressure points. Your sister, your job, your reputation. She'll use everything. You sound like you know her well. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. I was chief financial officer at Harper Industries for 15 years, until I discovered irregularities in their charitable foundation's accounts. Next thing I knew, my wife was leaving me over fabricated evidence of an affair, and my teenage daughter wouldn't speak to me. Emily shifts in her chair. Why help Sarah? Why now? Because Victoria made a mistake with Eleanor Mitchell's estate. She got sloppy, left traces. He pulls out another file, including this. The document shows a series of transfers from Harper Industries to offshore accounts, each coinciding with a death or disappearance. Eleanor's name is the last on the list. My phone buzzes again. Ryan. Mother's meeting with the probate judge tomorrow. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. They're moving faster than we thought, I say. Marcus nods. Victoria's desperate. Harper Industries is hemorrhaging money. Without Eleanor's estate, they'll lose everything, Emily finishes. Not just money. Marcus's expression darkens. Power. Control. Victoria's entire identity is built on being untouchable. Take that away. My phone rings. Lily again. This time I answer. Sarah? Her voice trembles. Victoria's here at my apartment. She says she's worried about you, that you're having some kind of breakdown. She brought papers for me to sign. Don't sign anything. My voice sounds strange in my ears. I'm coming over. There's someone else here too. Thomas? Your ex? They're saying... The line goes dead. Emily's already grabbing her keys, but Marcus stops us. Wait! This is exactly what Victoria wants. to force you into making a mistake. That's my sister. And if you rush in without a plan, you'll lose everything, including any chance of helping Lily. He's right, but every second feels like betrayal. I force myself to think like Victoria, calculate moves and counter moves. The probate hearing, I say slowly. What if we let Victoria win? Emily stares at me. Have you lost your mind? No. Marcus leans forward. She's thinking like a chess player. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a piece to win the game. My phone buzzes one final time. Victoria. Lovely chat with Lily. She's so concerned about you, dear. Shall we discuss terms? I show them the message. Victoria thinks she has all the pieces in place, so let's let her think she's won. While we set up the real endgame, Marcus agrees. But Sarah, you need to understand, once we start this, there's no going back. Victoria won't just try to destroy you. She'll annihilate everything you care about. I think about Eleanor, about Lily, about all the lives Victoria has casually ruined, about the look in Ryan's eyes when he finally chose to warn me. Too little, too late. Good, I say, and my voice sounds like someone else's, someone harder. Because I'm going to do the same to her. Emily touches my arm. Sarah, this isn't about revenge anymore. I pick up one of Marcus's photographs, a family much like mine, now broken beyond repair. This is about justice, about making sure Victoria Harper never hurts another family again. Marcus gathers the files with practiced efficiency. Then let's begin. But remember, from this moment on, trust no one. Not Ryan, not the police, not even me. Why not you? His smile turns bitter. Because everyone has something to lose, and Victoria's very good at finding out what that is. I send Victoria a response. Terms, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Then I turn off my phone and start learning how to destroy the woman who thought she could own me. Tomorrow, Victoria Harper will think she's won everything, and that's exactly when she'll start losing it all. The probate hearing feels like a carefully orchestrated play, with Victoria Harper as both director and star. She sits across from me in the judge's chambers, perfectly composed in Chanel, while I deliberately let my hands shake as I hold the papers. Miss Mitchell appears unable to manage her affairs, Victoria says softly, concern dripping from every syllable. The recent erratic behavior, the job loss, the emotional instability. My lawyer, carefully chosen by Marcus for this performance, makes a weak protest. Judge Harrison barely glances up from the documentation. And you're willing to assume responsibility for the estate's management, Mrs. Harper? It's the least we can do for poor Eleanor's niece. I sign the papers with trembling fingers, playing my part. Victoria's smile widens fractionally, a predator's satisfaction at a clean kill. But as we leave the chambers, Emily rushes in, her face ashen. Sarah, it's Lily. She's in the hospital. The performance drops away like shattered glass. What? Apparent overdose, Emily says, watching Victoria from the corner of her eye. They found prescription medications. Victoria touches my arm, her grip steel beneath silk. My dear, this only proves we made the right decision. You need to focus on your sister now, not worry about managing an estate. I pull away, already running. Behind me, I hear Victoria's measured steps following at a careful distance, close enough to show concern, far enough to deny involvement. At the hospital, Thomas stands outside Lily's room, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. My ex-husband, now Victoria's puppet, blocking my path. You can't go in, he says. They're reviewing her psychiatric hold. Psychiatric hold? Given her state when they found her and the notes. What notes? He pulls out his phone, shows me texts supposedly from Lily about my unstable behavior, my paranoid accusations against the Harpers, my declining mental state, all perfectly crafted to support Victoria's narrative. You helped them do this, I realize. To my sister. Sarah, you need help. We're all worried. Ryan appears from around the corner, his face tight. Father's calling an emergency board meeting. They're announcing the merger tomorrow. Merger? The pieces click together with sickening clarity. You're selling Harper Industries. Restructuring, Ryan corrects, not meeting my eyes. Once Mother has control of Eleanor's estate, the company's debt disappears, I finish. And Lily? Was putting my sister in the hospital part of the restructuring plan? Victoria appears behind me, her voice carrying just far enough for nearby nurses to hear. Dear, you're getting agitated again. Perhaps you should let the doctors examine you while you're here? I feel the trap closing. The concerned family members, the documented instability, the convenient timing. One wrong move and I'll join Lily under psychiatric observation. My phone buzzes. Marcus, don't react. Everything's proceeding as planned. But the plan didn't account for Lily, for Victoria crossing this line. Ryan touches my arm. Sarah, please, just let us help. I jerk away, my voice rising deliberately. Help? Like you helped Eleanor? Victoria's mask slips for just a moment. Fear flickers behind her eyes. Security, Thomas calls right on cue. We need assistance here. As security approaches, I let them see exactly what Victoria wants them to see. An unstable woman having a breakdown. I struggle just enough to seem erratic but not dangerous. Take care of my sister, I tell Emily as they lead me away. Don't let them near her. Victoria watches from the doorway, victory written in every line of her perfect posture. She thinks she's won everything, the estate, the company, my freedom, my sister. She doesn't see Marcus in the parking lot, recording everything. Doesn't notice Emily slipping a nurse a thumb drive. Doesn't realize that sometimes, to win the game, you have to sacrifice your queen. In the security office, waiting for the psychiatric evaluation that Victoria undoubtedly arranged, I close my eyes and think of Eleanor, of Lily, of all the pieces Victoria moved so carefully into place. My phone buzzes one last time. Marcus. Files delivered. Tomorrow's board meeting will be interesting. I delete the message just as the doctor arrives, his clipboard already full of Victoria's carefully crafted concerns. Time to play my final role, the pawn who didn't realize she was about to become a queen. Tomorrow, Victoria Harper will learn that the game isn't over until the last piece falls, and I intend to make sure that piece is her. The Harper Industries boardroom buzzes with tension as Victoria takes her place at the head of the table. I watch through the security feed from Marcus's laptop, surrounded by federal agents in an unmarked van outside. The merger documentation is complete, Victoria announces to the board. With the Mitchell estate securing our position, the boardroom door swings open. Ryan walks in, followed by Emily and a stone-faced woman in a federal jacket. Actually, Mother, Ryan says, his voice steady, we should discuss the irregularities in the foundation's accounts first. Victoria's smile doesn't waver. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time. I step into the room, making Victoria freeze mid-sentence. Before we discuss my aunt's estate, let's talk about how she died. Security! Daniel starts to rise, but the federal agent raises her badge. Nobody leaves this room. Victoria's composure cracks for just a moment. Sarah, dear, shouldn't you be at the hospital? With my sister? The one you poisoned with the same medication cocktail that killed Eleanor? I slide a USB drive across the polished table. Everything's here. The offshore accounts, the falsified medical records, the pattern of mysterious deaths following Harper Foundation interventions. Lies, Victoria hisses, from an unstable woman. From your own records, Marcus steps in, carrying a familiar leather briefcase. The ones you kept in your private safe, the one I installed when I was CFO. Victoria's eyes dart between faces, calculating odds, searching for allies. She finds none. Ryan, she tries, surely you don't believe. I found Eleanor's original medical records, Ryan cuts her off. The ones before you had them altered. I'm done protecting this family's secrets. Victoria laughs, the sound brittle as breaking glass. Protected? You've never protected anything, Ryan. You're weak, just like your father. I built this empire while he played golf and you chased pretty girls. I made us untouchable. You made us monsters, Ryan says quietly. Victoria stands, suddenly radiating fury. Everything I did for this family, for our legacy. You think you can destroy that with some paperwork? I own this town. One phone call. To whom? I ask. Judge Harrison? He's being questioned about Eleanor's probate hearing. Thomas? He's already cutting a deal to save himself. Your pet doctors? They're running scared. You stupid girl. Victoria's smile turns vicious. You think this is justice? Revenge? You're just like the others, weak, sentimental, easily broken. I'll destroy you, just like I destroyed them. And when I'm done, no one will even remember your name. That's where you're wrong. I pull out my phone, press play. Victoria's own voice fills the room, confessing to Eleanor's murder in the hospital corridor. I don't care if people remember my name. I care that they'll never forget yours. The boardroom erupts into chaos. Federal agents pour in. Daniel crumples in his chair. Board members scramble to distance themselves. But Victoria stands perfectly still, staring at me with something like recognition. Well played, she says softly. I almost wish you were really my daughter-in-law. We could have been magnificent together. I prefer magnificent on my own. As they lead Victoria away, Ryan touches my arm. Sarah, Don't. I step back. You chose your side too late. What happens now? I look around the boardroom at the empire Victoria built through blood and manipulation. Now, I'm going to do what librarians do best, preserve history, make sure no one forgets what happened here. Marcus appears at my shoulder. The federal investigation will take months. They'll want your testimony. They'll have it after I check on my sister. I turn to leave, but Victoria's voice stops me at the door. You think this is over? That you've won? She laughs, the sound echoing off marble walls. Oh, my dear, you have no idea what you've started. I meet her eyes one last time. No, Victoria. This isn't about winning, it's about justice. The difference is what you never understood. The federal agents lead her away, but her laughter follows me down the corridor. I don't look back. I've seen enough of Victoria Harper's face to last a lifetime. Besides, I have a sister to visit, a foundation to rebuild, and a story to tell. And this time, I'll make sure it has the right ending. The old library building still smells like books, even as workers strip away the Harper Foundation logos. Lily sits beside me on the front steps, her recovery visible in the return of color to her cheeks. What will you call it? She asks, watching the new sign being installed. The Eleanor Mitchell Memorial Library and Community Center. I hand her the dedication speech. Want to read it at the opening? She squeezes my hand instead of answering. We both know what it means, her voice getting stronger, her story becoming part of the narrative. Emily appears with coffee and newspaper clippings. Victoria Harper's conviction made headlines, but the smaller stories matter more. The returned properties, the overturned contracts, the lives slowly being rebuilt from the wreckage of Harper Industries. Marcus called, Emily says, settling beside us. He's testifying in another case. Apparently, Victoria's web stretched further than we thought. And Ryan? Cooperating with the investigation. He's selling everything, using the money to set up victim restitution funds. The morning sun catches the library's windows, and for a moment I see Eleanor's reflection instead of mine. What would she think of all this? Of justice served through careful manipulation and calculated revenge? A familiar car pulls up. Thomas, my ex-husband, looking smaller somehow without Victoria's influence propping him up. Sarah, he approaches cautiously. I heard about the opening. I wanted to... He trails off, noticing Lily's sharp gaze. I'm sorry for everything. I know. And I do know, finally. We were all pieces on Victoria's board, moved by her invisible hands. The difference was in how we chose to break free. He leaves a check, his contribution to the restitution fund, and drives away, one more thread in the tapestry of aftermath. Marcus arrives as the workers finish the sign. Quite a legacy you're building. Speaking of legacies, I turn to face him. When were you going to tell me about your daughter? He stiffens slightly. What about her? That Victoria didn't just destroy your career, that your daughter's mysterious illness cleared up as soon as you agreed to leave Harper Industries. His silence speaks volumes. You could have told me. We were fighting the same battle. No, he says quietly. You were fighting for justice. I was fighting for revenge. There's a difference. Is there? He gestures at the library, at the people gathering for the soft opening. Look what you built from the ashes. Me? I'm still burning. Before I can respond, a commotion erupts at the entrance. Daniel Harper stands there, aged decades in mere months, clutching an old book. It was Eleanor's, he says, holding it out like a peace offering. Victoria kept it as insurance. I thought you should have it. Inside, Eleanor's careful handwriting fills the margins with notes about the Harper family, observations, suspicions, plans never enacted. She saw it all coming, but ran out of time to stop it. Thank you, I say, but Daniel's already walking away, another ghost of the empire Victoria built, and I helped destroy. Lily reads over my shoulder. She was trying to protect you, wasn't she? Eleanor. She was trying to protect everyone. I close the book gently. Come on, let's go inside. The library fills with light and voices, children exploring the new reading nook, adults browsing job resources, life flowing back into spaces Victoria tried to control. But as I walk through my rebuilt world, Victoria's last words echo in my mind. You have no idea what you've started. Maybe she was right. Maybe this isn't an ending at all. Emily touches my arm. You okay? Just thinking about stories, I say, watching Lily help a young girl find the perfect book. How they never really end the way you expect. And how's this one ending? I look around at my transformed kingdom, built not from fear and manipulation like Victoria's, but from the ashes of what she destroyed. The power to help or harm, to rebuild or destroy, now rests in my hands. It's not, I realize. It's just changing chapters. The library hums with possibility, with futures being rewritten page by page. Victoria thought power meant controlling the story. I know better now. True power is giving others the chance to write their own,